Meditate, manifest, invest in you. Join me on my spiritual journey as I elevate myself and like-minded listeners to a higher level mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for listening. This is Black Hippie Lounge, and I am your host, Chanel. Okay, good evening and welcome to Black Hippie Lounge. I am your host, Chanel, and tonight, today is March 25th, and just kind of throwing that out there just because people have been like quarantined and maybe have lost sight of what day it is, so just kind of updating you on that. We're gonna tonight. The episode is called "Hey Bruh, You Good?" Part 2. It's going to be part 2 of the episode that I did last week about Black men's health and just like Black healthcare in general. And I actually have my first guest. I'm so excited. So we'll introduce him in a couple minutes. But I just kind of wanted to do a brief intro. So again, this is Black Hippie Lounge, and you can find me on Instagram at Black Hippie Lounge, and you can also, I'm on Twitter, and the same thing is at Black Hippie Lounge. Follow me, DM me, message, anything. If you have any comments or suggestions, I would definitely appreciate it. So, again, like I said, the title is "Hey Bruh, You Good?" Part 2, Black Men's Health. So, on my Instagram, I posted a picture as like a kind of mental check-in that people can participate in, and you can just say like your color that you might check in with. And so, actually, let me talk about it real quick. So, the question is, how are you right now? And it has like different colors. Red is I'm doing great. Orange is I'm doing pretty good. And then it keeps going like I'm doing okay. I'm starting to struggle. Just followers you can still post how you're feeling. I feel like for me, I'm doing pretty good. Despite everything that's been going on, I've been still kind of living my life normally, going out as needed because I still have work that I have to go to, but not really interacting physically with people as much, just to be cautious due to obviously the coronavirus that's going on. I suggest people to do the same, please. I'm not trying to be funny or rude, but like stay your ass at home, please. We need to get this resolved. So if you can, just stay home, please. That if you want to still participate in that, you can let me know. I'm going to ask my guests also to do that. But I just want to give a couple facts on Black men in healthcare because, again, that is the topic that we're going to talk about today. I didn't really find that many facts, but I did find that 9.9% of nurses are of Black descent today, which is pretty low. And that doesn't even include male. It's just Black in general. And there has been a decline in Black men working in healthcare or enrolling in med school or nursing school. So we definitely want to increase those numbers and get people more involved in healthcare because, like I said last week, it's important. If you know you need to go to a doctor, but maybe you might feel like look like me, they don't really understand what I'm going through. Having that opportunity to have people that look like you and who can get where you're coming from culturally can definitely impact the increase of people being willing to go to the doctor, especially Black men, because those are the people who have such a low rate of going to the doctor, whether it be for just yearly checkups or just like when something's wrong. So we definitely want to get that information out there and get people to just be more willing to go to the doctor. So to get right into it, Today I have a guest who is currently in nursing school and doing big things with his life. I'm very proud of him. He is my brother, my younger brother, one of my younger brothers. His name is Lance, and like I said, he's in nursing school right now. He works in healthcare. He's worked in healthcare for a while, and I just wanted to interview him to kind of get his perspective from a Black male's perspective of what it's like to not only work in healthcare, but also to pursue a degree in healthcare and his experience, and then any type of advice that he can give to someone who might be listening, who might be considering going into nursing or healthcare as a Black male, and just basically, like I said, get the Black male's perspective on healthcare, not only just working in it and going to school, but as a patient himself. Maybe some experiences that he's had or what he feels could be more helpful to get Black men to not only work in healthcare, but to be more on top of their game as far as going to doctor's visits. So, Lance, thank you for coming on tonight to the Black Hippie Lounge.
Of course. What's going on, Nelly? How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm good. Like I said, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I'm still living my life.
Hey.
And just doing what I got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I mean, as you know, obviously, I could go ahead and go tell your audience. My fiance's dad got a bit, ended up testing positive for COVID-19. So it's been a little bit crazy and a little bit hectic. I'm just trying to, I was trying to go over there, trying to help out, trying to make sure that they're okay. My fiance is okay. Obviously trying to take the proper precautions for my health, but it's just like things are just completely just wild right now.
Right.
Wild.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, giving that insight too. And how are you doing mentally?
Mentally, right now I'm doing okay. It's, what it is? It's a big adjustment.
Right.
It's definitely an adjustment physically, mentally, some could even say spiritually, just having to just be confined. Obviously, normally our daily routine would be to, go outside, go to class, go to work.
Right.
And, some people get to do that, but it's like most of us individuals right now, we're going to have to go ahead and stay inside. And that's a huge adjustment. Being able to, release some of that energy, either through the gym, whatever. Everything's having to change. And, we've never really seen anything like this before. So it's just, it's wild right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, like you said, like even going to the gym, like I'm like, man, I'm sitting here running back and forth to the kitchen. Like, hold up, girl, you better stay your behind down. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because summer is around the corner.
Yo.
No game should be played.
Listen. Same here.
Yeah, but I'm glad you're doing mentally. I'm doing well, and I'm glad everything is working out. With your fiance and her family, definitely, wishing for a speedy recovery. And just, again, that's another reason why people just got to really take this serious. I feel like sometimes people are not taking it as serious as needed.
Yes.
And I think that, the more cases that come about, people, hopefully will get the picture. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. So
of course.
I guess what my first thing I want to talk about is, so can you kind of give the audience an idea of what you have going on, whether it be with school and like work, what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So, as you stated, I've been a clinical assistant for about 4 years. It's about 4 years that I've been in healthcare, all at Boston Children's Hospital. I work out at the Satellite in Waltham. And then in terms of school, I'm in nursing school. I'm at UMass Boston. I'm a nursing student. And it's like you stated. It's so funny that you actually brought up the statistic about 9% of Black people being nurses. I'll be straight up honest with you. I have never seen a Black nurse at my hospital.
That's crazy.
I've never seen one. I've met PAs, I've met doctors, but I haven't encountered a Black nurse.
Wow.
Not once. Nope. Not once.
Yeah.
No.
Not even female.
Not even
So
female.
no male.
No.
Wow.
And it's crazy because it's like, I'm not trying to go ahead and go dog out Children's, but it's like Children's has this whole thing talking about diversity and, you know, we're all together and all this other stuff. And I was talking to one of my fellow clinical assistants the other day, and I was like, yo, you notice that they never talk about Black History Month? Not even once?
Wow.
Not even once. We literally had to start at our department putting up facts about Black History Month. We started doing it like every February. But I know.
So
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you and your fellow clinical assistant did it, not actually management or anything?
No, management didn't mention it. They were quick to mention St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, all these other days. But when it came down to hitting February 1st, nothing. But they had everything for St. Patrick's Day already put up on February. They didn't mention anything about Black History Month. Normally they put out an email, you know, Merry Christmas, all this other stuff. But Black History Month, we ain't got nothing. Oh, and another thing, not to cut you off, was they were doing a news article or something like that at my job. And they wanted the clinical assistants to speak, and I started talking about how in Black History Month, they, you know, they don't mention anything, and how, you know, one of my clinical assistants and I, Vanessa, we were very, very passionate about it. And you know that she tried to cut out what I was basically saying about the Black History Month part, because she said that I sounded angry. I'm an angry Black man now because I'm passionate about something. Like, for real? Seriously? That's how we doing it?
Oh, wow.
That's how we doing it.
And see, that's why it's important to have people like you and your fellow clinical assistant to be in healthcare, to look out, you know what I mean, and represent the race, you know. And it's not just Black people, it's Spanish, anybody, anybody with some color, you know what I mean. Like, we need more people to be able to represent us and to have our backs and look out for their patients. This is very important. So. Yeah, thank you for letting us know about that and a little bit about yourself. Yes. So, I guess my first thing I wanted to ask is like, I guess so. What do you feel is the importance of having Black male nurses, and why did you choose to pursue this career?
Honestly, it low key started. I don't know if you remember. You probably do. Remember when Nana was in the hospital?
Yes.
And those, like, some of those, like, nurses and, like, the IV nurse and everything were low-key treating her poorly and, like, giving her attitude. And, like, it was from there on. I always knew that I wanted to be in the medical field, but I never knew exactly if I wanted to be a doctor, a PA, an NP. But I was like, I looked at that guy and I was like, I can do so much better than you can.
Right.
I can and I will.
Right.
Because the thing about nursing that sometimes people forget, yeah, they can give you your medications, they can do all of this, but it's, for me, it's the people skills. It's being able to talk to a person one-on-one and showing them, you know, not only, I'm going to go ahead and do the best that I can to treat you, but I'm also going to listen to what you have to say. It's your body. It's your body. It's not mine. I'm going to go ahead and go listen to you. But it really started on that day because I was like, I know how much better I can go ahead and do rather than this person. I'm not going to ignore a person's complaints, a person's problems. I'm going to go ahead and go work with you. So we go ahead and go find a plan that best works for you.
Okay.
And from there on, I knew that nursing, I could do bedside, no problem. And I could honestly make a better impact than some of these other nurses can because I've been able to experience different departments, different types of healthcare. I've been able to go ahead and go see it all from an administrative assistant to a clinical assistant to a nursing student. You know? And it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody. It's a very, very, very difficult job. Very, very challenging. Mm-hmm.
Right. So you really have to have your heart in it.
You do. You have to truly be passionate, and you truly have to really want to help. these people. Not only be on top of your game and be precise, not only with medications, planning, but you have to know how to be able to talk to people and have a different set of tone, knowing your audience, talking to parents, depending on what population you're working with. It's all, it's all different, but that's what makes me happy. When I can walk into a room, especially with a patient who might be going through a very, very difficult time, and if I could go ahead and crack a little smile, even if it's just while I'm taking vitals or something like that, I know I've gone ahead and I've made their day just a little bit easier.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they appreciate it as well.
Yes.
That's good. So again, like you said, you're in school. So, now that you've been in school, in nursing school, and you've worked in healthcare, has that changed your view of how you take care of yourself and how you are as a patient? Like when you have your yearly checkups, or does it make you, the more that you learn about healthcare and the more that you work there, has it pushed you to want to do your yearly checkups more and like stay on top of it? Or is it more just kind of the same of how it was? Or can you kind of expand on that?
So let me be totally honest. I am terrible when it comes to getting like my immunizations done, all that stuff, which is obviously not very encouraging.
So you're basically one of the black people we talked about right? You're one of the black men who don't go to the doctor. Great. Okay.
Listen, Nelly. By the way, I think we got to change your name, Nelly. It can't be Chanel. I kind of want to start calling you HQ, hippie queen. I low key want to start calling you HQ. So HQ. I'm trying, but it's just like, it's such a balancing act. It was so much different when I was a kid and I had to go ahead and go get immunizations. It was just something mom set up, and we went ahead and we just went ahead and did it. So I'm trying to adjust to adult life, and I'm still adjusting. But I mean, obviously with nursing school, we still have to like get our checkups and everything like that. So far I am on top of it, but like obviously I'm trying to move forward. I mean, obviously working like 45 hours a week and then doing full-time school. It's a balancing act, and I'm really still trying to find that balance.
So what do you feel would help you to stay on it? Is it just like, so I guess like, okay, so for me, even myself as a black woman, I work in healthcare, so I'm studying for healthcare as well. But I get the alerts from the doctor's office about scheduling, and I definitely stay on top of that and make sure that I make my appointments, obviously adjusted to what my schedule is. No, I don't always want to go, because I know for me, I'm like, oh, well, I'm healthy. So what do I, what do I need to go for? But obviously we know that it's important because you can have underlying things going on. So true. I guess I feel like a lot of black men, like I said, you guys just kind of brush it off, or like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm good on the exterior and I feel like I don't have any symptoms, then what do I need to go for? So I guess what do you feel would help you to be like, all right, even though I am good, I know this is important for me to go? Is it just having that extra reminder, or is it just, it shouldn't have to get to a health scare for people to want to go to the doctor. So I guess is it more or less like, if you had a black doctor, would that make you want to make your appointments more? Or if you knew you were going to have a black doctor, a black nurse, or whatever, would that change anything?
I mean, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. For me personally, I know for me, I just need to get organized. And that's really it. For me, I just want to get organized. I mean, don't get me wrong. That is something big that I would love to be able to see. I would love to be able to walk into a hospital and see a black nurse and a black doctor being able to greet me. Shoot, even an Asian one for that matter, or even a Hispanic one for that matter. Arabian, whatever, Indian, doesn't really matter. But like, to be able to see like an actual melting pot, because they call the United States a melting pot, but I know in Massachusetts it definitely isn't. But it's like, I would love that. And that actually might be more encouraging for me to go ahead and go see my visits and stuff like that. But like, I know for me personally, I just need to go ahead and go get organized. And I'm balancing so many things right now. But for those brothers and sisters, or for those brothers that are out there that aren't getting checkups just because they think you're good, just a reminder, you can have any small thing going on and you could be completely asymptomatic and you have no idea.
Yes.
Yes.
And also it's important for Black men, and you can chime in with that, but I think it's important that Black men and women, but obviously we're talking about Black men, to know your family's history, because if your family, if your parents or your grandparent follows a trait of diabetes or something like that, and you know, might be having symptoms that you don't even know are connected to that. So just being able to know, again, that's why it's important to have these appointments, because say when the doctor checks in, like, oh, have you had any, you know, unusual symptoms or anything like that, even if you might think it's not a symptom, if you tell the doctor what's been going on, they might be able to connect that to something. So I think definitely, like I said, you know, making sure that you're going to these appointments, you know, yeah, it's annoying, but it's important. It literally is life and death. So,
For real.
And also just like, obviously your diet and stuff is important too. But yeah, I mean, would you agree that, you know, knowing your family's history is important?
Oh, it's massively important, because people forget how many things can just be so easily passed on, from blood pressure to stuff like diabetes. Even some doctors don't know the exact ins and outs of some, you know, diseases and stuff like that can be passed on that are hereditary. We don't exactly know, but it is definitely obviously very important to get checked out, to have your blood levels go ahead and be assessed. You know, electrolytes and stuff like that, all that stuff, your weight, taking care of yourself, your diet. It is very, very important to go to the doctor and to make sure that you at least have your regular checkups. And if there is something that is wrong, don't WebMD if there is something seriously wrong. And I know there's some people out there. I'm talking to the people that go ahead and go on WebMD. I know who they are. And I know who you are. So for the people who go on WebMD, don't be afraid to go ahead and go to the doctor and go ahead and go get checked out if you feel like something is wrong. I know it's so easy because we have the internet to just be like, oh, I can just go ahead and go look this up. I can go ahead and solve this right now. No, that's not always the case.
Right. Mm-mm. Right. It's very important to let the professionals do it.
Yes. That's what they're there for.
Right. And even if, you know, if it is something minor or it's not serious, at least you got it checked out.
Exactly.
You know, and it's not, you know, letting it get worse. So I guess another thing, I guess, what would your suggestion be to a young Black male who might be your age or a little younger, who might be, you know, say they're like in high school and they're thinking about going to study medicine, whether it be nursing like you or become a doctor? What would you suggest that they do?
I would definitely say, first things first, follow your passion. Know what you're passionate about. Know that no matter what, you're going to be interested in this particular field, no matter how bad or how crazy it gets. You'll never wake up and say, I'm miserable. Because I'm sure, Chanel, I'm sure HQ, I'm sure you've met plenty of people who are doctors or people who are making a lot of money in certain fields and they're not happy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're miserable.
Some people are doing it because their family said to do it, or because for the money, you know. And yeah, money is good. Don't get me wrong, but you know, you got to still want to do it 20 years, 30 years from now.
Yep.
Especially with all the debt you incur, you better want to do it.
Exactly.
Because,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, I met one of the doctors who works at Children's. We used to talk all the time. He's a fantastic guy. He hates being a doctor. He said even with all the money and all this stuff, he doesn't like talking to patients, all this. He can't stand it. So I would tell that young brother, I would say, listen, make sure that you are truly passionate and that your head is in this for the right reasons, not just for the money or for job security. Make sure that this is something that will truly make you happy. For whatever reason that may be, make sure that you're truly happy. If you can, try to see if you can shadow, because shadowing was a huge eye-opener for me. At first, I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician. I'm pretty sure you knew that. Right. But then I shadowed and I said, I want to do this.
Can you explain what shadowing is for people who don't know?
Oh yeah. So for people who don't know, shadowing is just like following. All I did was follow around a doctor basically, and just saw what their day just entailed, and some of the things that they were able to do, and I was able to go ahead and go watch that. Yeah, and they had like 40, 50 something patients. They were in and out constantly. This particular doctor just looked stressed,
right,
constantly. And then when I went and shadowed and I followed around a nurse, it was different. Obviously, yes, the nurse was still a little bit more stressed, but they were able to talk to the patients. They actually got to know the patients, and that's why I was like, okay, that's something that I would be very interested in doing.
Right.
You know?
Because you're naturally an extroverted person anyway, so you enjoy the conversation.
Yes, exactly.
And getting to know patients on a more personal level.
Exactly.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
So I guess let's see. I know I've asked you, your personal experiences and everything. So you said, obviously for, I guess, the wrap up for that would be to just follow your passion, make sure you really want to do it.
Yes.
And that you care about people.
Just make sure you're in it for the right reasons. If you want to go ahead and go into the medical field, obviously people have different types of reasons, but I wouldn't want a fellow Black brother to go ahead and wake up one day and just say, you know what, my heart's not really in this.
Okay.
My heart's not in it.
Right. So, as a Black male, obviously, like I said, you have your personal experiences, whether it be work and schooling, but why do you... Okay, I guess what made you want to be a part of this episode? Like, what about this topic stood out to you?
For me, it's just like, it is very important for, how do I put this? It's very important for, obviously, for men, especially Black men, to go ahead and go talk about their health. There's so many portrayals of us basically being, superheroes, and people who can go ahead and go do it all, but we're like, we're the most stubborn when it comes to going to the doctor. And I know that comes from way back. I mean, shoot, that could be all the way back from the Tuskegee study.
Right. Oh, yeah. When you have stuff like that happen,
how could you trust a doctor?
You're right. And I think that, and now that you bring that up, that's actually a great point, because I think a lot of Black men or women, they don't trust it. They don't trust the doctors. They either trust them way too much.
Yep.
And go off of everything that the doctor says, or they don't trust them enough at all, and they're just like, forget it.
Because it makes things very challenging. I mean, you remember about Serena Williams when she was having her baby and she had her blood clot and everything, and she was having problems. If the best tennis player in the history of tennis can't get proper treatment, we got some real problems going on in healthcare right now.
Yeah,
got some real big issues. If she can't get proper treatment, that still blows my mind. And it's like, when I see stuff like that, I go, now I get why Black people don't trust the hospital or don't trust the doctors.
Yep. And I think that's why there's been an increase of, as you mentioned that about, giving birth, like a lot of midwives and just home births, because it's like, there's been a lot of cases now where a lot of Black women have died and giving childbirth, and that shouldn't be happening in this 2020. That you don't hear about those cases with other races, so I don't know why. But I think it's also, like you said, a part of not listening and thinking that at the end of the day, I like how you said in the beginning that patients is your body, so they know what's going on.
Exactly.
And being able to trust that, and having someone to trust that, and do what they still need to do professionally, but still having feeling like you're being heard. That's very important as a patient.
Exactly. Not only that, Chanel, but also using the correct terminology and like breaking things down. And that's why I think it's so important to be a people person, because I'm sorry, like, obviously, like, when we talk, we may know what we're talking about, but the audience may not know. Medical terminology is a completely different language There's times where I'm talking to my fiance and she's looking at me like I got 6 heads. She has no idea what I'm saying.
Right.
And how many Black brothers and sisters do you think walk into a medical office and, might know some of the basics, but a doctor's speaking to them in a completely different language and they're just sitting there nodding their heads because they don't want to be embarrassed.
Right.
And that's
very
why
true.
That's why I think the diversity is so key, because it's like, we know at the end of the day, for the most part, we look out for our own.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Especially we go ahead and go look out for our own, explain things. Especially when I see another Black brother or sister in the hospital, I really try to make sure if there's anything wrong, if I notice anything, I really make sure I tell the nurse. And I make sure something gets done about it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But it's just like, it's so important to, again, not only be treating patients and stuff like that the right way, but just making sure you're explaining things to them in layman's terms. You're not speaking doctor to doctor. You have to go ahead and you're speaking to a normal person, like you're talking to your mom. That's the way I treat it. Like I'm talking to mom, and if I said some crazy stuff, she'd be looking at me like, huh? What?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's true.
Yep.
That is very true.
Yep.
So actually I wanted to thank you again for that.
Of course.
I feel like we got a lot talked about here. Definitely appreciate your input. And I do want to mention something just for people who are listening due to this coronavirus situation. And you can add on if you have any other facts to it, but also just letting people know that, please, if you have to take a medication, take Tylenol.
Yes.
Correct?
Absolutely.
Only Tylenol. Don't take Advil, because that will kickstart the virus.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. Tylenol.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And can you kind of just give a brief overview of the symptoms potentially of coronavirus for listeners?
So there are multiple different levels for the coronavirus. Just starting off, there's the moderate, there's the severe, and then there's the critical. I obviously have never seen a severe or a critical case, but I'm assuming it'd be pretty bad and you'd probably end up on a ventilator. But just to go over the symptoms real quick, for the most part, from what I've heard, it usually starts with some type of cough or some type of itchy throat. That can go ahead and evolve to a fever, possibly some chest pain, runny nose. There can also, don't forget, and they're not saying this much, but they need to be, GI issues. Diarrhea is something that people forget about. Abdominal pain is something that they're not really talking about.
I didn't know that.
Exactly. See? They're focusing on mostly upper respiratory, which it is an upper respiratory virus, but the GI and the diarrhea and stuff like that is something that's also happening. They're saying with most cases they're starting to see. Runny nose, but the main thing you want to focus on is the fever and the shortness of breath. If you're not able to if you're having to take breaths in between words or gaps in between words, that's what you consider shortness of breath. You're having a hard time breathing. You can't catch your breath.
Okay.
And that is definitely, absolutely a time to call the physician. If you got a fever, and if you don't know the normal fever ranges, anything over 100.4 is considered to be a fever. 100.4 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
I would say a true fever is probably more like a 101 or a 102. And obviously a 104 is when you're getting a bit dangerous. It's getting dangerous. You need to go to the hospital.
Okay.
Go straight to the ER.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
I did not know about the GI part, so hopefully...
The GI part is new. I did some research. Yep.
Okay. Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hopefully our listeners can pass that on.
Yes.
Definitely. So thank you so much for being a guest, like I said, on this episode, giving your insight. Definitely appreciated. So actually I'm going to, like I tend to do, is end with a quote. And it's pretty simple, but I think it relates to what we're talking about. But it's I don't know if it's actually a quote. It's just a photo that I saw online. And it's just, shout out to Black men just because. That can mean so many things. But yeah, shout out to y'all, like, for holding it down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The ones like you holding it down for us out in the medical field. Shout out to the black people who are working, you know, at this time during the coronavirus when everything's crazy and who still have to go to work. Please protect yourselves. Wash your hands. No close contact with people. Trying to have that social distancing. Like you said, I know it's hard, but it's, you know, this is your health. It's not just you, you know, your family can be affected. So really just trying to take this time to stay healthy. And then utilizing this time. Doesn't mean that you're in lockdown and you can't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, utilize this time and explore your talents, or pick up a hobby. I don't know, read a book. I don't know, like, do something. You know what I mean? Yup. And you got to appreciate this time. You know, I think this is also a way of God kind of, and the universe, slowing us down and trying to, you know, appreciate the family that we have, the friends that we have, the people that you have in your life. And I feel like you said, like, we're always on the go, and this has really just slowed things down to make us kind of, you know, appreciate what we have going on, appreciate what you have in your life. And, you know, it's an alert to, you know, look out for your health. Like you said, you know, as Black men, just, you know, check in with yourself. You don't have to check in just with the doctor. Check in with yourself, you know. If you see anything abnormal, like you said, don't WebMD it. You gotta, you know, if it's serious, go to the doctor. Again, it can't hurt to get yourself checked, you know. It's your life is your life. So yeah, shout out to Black men. Shout out to you, Lance. Thank you again for being a guest on the Black Hippie Lounge.
Loving it.
Yes.
Thank you, HQ. Thank you.
So I'm going to post this on all social media platforms like I usually do. Hopefully I'll tag you in it as well, so you can post it on your story on your Instagram.
Bet.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And that about wraps it up for this episode. Again, you guys can follow me on Instagram. It's at Black Hippie Lounge. It's BlackHippieLounge. It's the same for Twitter. I have a Twitter also. After so many years of not using Twitter, I've created a Twitter.
I got you on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, thank you so much, Lance, for checking in. I wish you, obviously, you know, nothing but the best in your studies. Congrats again on getting engaged.
Hey, that wedding in Mexico gonna be turned. You already know, HQ, what it do.
Litty. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely, like I said, congrats on that. Keep studying.
Thank you.
Keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? Take care of yourself. Go to the doctor.
Yes.
And just keep practicing, you know, your health all around. Like you said, it's not just physical, it's spiritual, mental health. Just, you know, taking care of yourself and checking in with others. Check in with your friends. Check in, you know, with your bros, you know, like, that's important. It's okay to check in. You know what I mean?
Yes. Please do. That's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah. So definitely thank you for that.
Ooh, is it okay if I drop a quote real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so I literally just thought about this. For everybody out there listening, life is literally like a TV program. Everybody wants to just go ahead and go fast forward and just keep pushing forward, but don't be afraid to hit that pause button.
Ooh.
Don't be afraid to hit that pause button.
Snaps fingers.
Yes. Don't be afraid to hit that pause button. It's all good.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah, you're right. And when your life is on pause, don't panic. You know what I mean? Trust the process. Trust the process. Please trust the process, man. Because everything eventually comes together. Everything is gonna be all right. You know what I mean?
Yup.
Yes, man. I mean, I already know. You already know. 2019 was a testament for me.
Yes.
But like I said, you can't go backwards. You can't stay where you're at. So you gotta keep going.
That's it.
You gotta keep going. Thank you so much, man.
Of course. Already know.
Yeah. So again, I'll tag you and everything, and listeners, just Thank you for listening to the episode, and have a great night.
Yes, you too. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.